Hey, it's Mike at Craft Beer Storm, also founder brewer at Bear Brewing Company in glorious Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We have a special guest. We have Mitch Steele. He used to be the brewmaster at Stone Brewing, right? They did some amazing stuff. They're still doing amazing stuff, but now he's moved on. He's at New Realm Brewing, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. And they also have another location in Virginia Beach, making some awesome stuff. And I wanted to get him on the podcast. I appreciate his time. We had a great conversation. So, but first, if do me a favor, please go on to iTunes, give us a rating and review. Tell a friend, tell 10 friends, and subscribe to our podcast. That's the only way we get the word out. We get up in the rankings. People notice us. And it just fuels everything. But the only way we can do it is if you help me out and do this. Downloads are going up, which is cool, but we need more of an effort. I give you this stuff for free. I don't charge you anything. I don't sell you anything. I just want to bring you great quality content, and we're doing that. And you're responding by the downloads going up, which I appreciate and I thank you. But we're to get to a place where we need to be. We got to have a lot more activity and likes and I would appreciate it. All right. Anyway, I'm going to stop now, but we're going to talk to Mitch. Here we go. Hey, we're here with Mitch Steele. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I appreciate you carving out the time to talk to me today. Today's been nuts, man. It's like All-Star Day. I had the BrewMaster for Guinness before.
Oh, nice.
It was Fergal. He used to be the brewmaster there at Guinness, but now he says he's still he never retires but he was there. And then we had Jason from Allagash.
Cool.
I just got off the phone with him, and now I have you. So I have like All-Star Thursday Thunder. That's what I call it. Cool. So, hey, I appreciate it. And maybe we can start off like your story, how you got started, where you are now and your journey. Maybe you can go into that.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll start off. I've been brewing professionally for over 30 years. If you'd lump in the home brewing that I did before I started brewing professionally, it's been about 35, 36 years. I went to school at the University of California at Davis, which has a really great and world-renowned winemaking program. But they also had a brewing program there that I didn't know about until after I got there. And so I was taking some winemaking classes, and I found out about the brewing classes and just gravitated over to that. And graduated in 1984 with a fermentation science degree, which covered winemaking and brewing, which was cool. Did winemaking for a bit after I got out of school, and then got on with a startup craft pub brewery in California, just south of the Bay Area, called San Andreas, and I spent 4 years there. When we were brewing kind of lower alcohol, sessionable English style ales. English style being kind of what everybody was doing back then when they were opening up brew pubs. But
San Andreas sounds scary, right? Maybe it's on the fault there.
Yeah, well, the town we were in was Hollister, and Hollister's nickname is the earthquake capital of the world.
Oh my God!
two of the biggest faults in California run right through the center.
Did
of town,
anything happen while you were there? I mean, any earthquake?
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, the big Loma Prieta quake in '89 happened there, and it shut the town down for about a week and did a lot of damage. So, I've been through some pretty nasty earthquakes. They're not fun.
No.
But anyway, I spent 4 years there, and then decided and it was never going to be, I don't think, a career for me at this place. It just, we weren't making enough beer for that. But I ended up moving on to Anheuser-Busch in 1992 and moved to Colorado and was a shift supervisor at their big brewery in Fort Collins, and enjoyed that job. My goal, when I joined Anheuser-Busch was just to learn how to run a brewery and how to manage a brewing process. Because they are the best in the world at managing brewing processes and making sure the beer tastes the same every single batch.
The quality control, yeah.
Yeah. So, I learned a heck of a lot about that. I told myself I'd do it for 5 years minimum and learn as much as I could, and then maybe get back out into craft, which is what I really wanted to do. And I ended up staying at AB for 14 years.
Oh, wow.
Had a really good career there. I did new product development for a few years, and my last few years at Anheuser-Busch, I was in New Hampshire working at the Merrimack Brewery, and enjoyed that a lot, and might not have left if they had told me I could have stayed in New Hampshire for the rest of my life, but that wasn't going to happen. They were going to move me.
Move you around, yeah.
Yeah. So in 2006, I took a job with Stone. At the time, it was a head brewer position, and over a few years I was there as I took on more responsibilities. It became a BrewMaster position, and I spent 10 years at Stone. So just a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Got to do so many cool things at Stone, and then these guys approached me about doing New Realm in 2016, and I made the very tough decision to leave Stone and join up with these guys, and I've been doing this ever since.
But now your time at Stone was really epic, I guess. You had the Enjoy by IPA, right? I mean, that's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I still, every time it comes out, I'm like, oh, when is it? And like Enjoy by Christmas, Enjoy by April 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were fun. I mean, Greg threw the concept out, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy, but it's brilliant. The idea of having a beer with a 35-day shelf life. But, we were trying to make a point, and he pretty much let me do whatever I wanted to do with the formulation of the beer. I was in the middle of writing my book on India Pale Ale at the time.
Right.
And I had this big document that had all these tips from a lot of brewers that I really, really respect about how they brewed double IPAs. And I said, Greg, what I'd like to do is take the best I see here on this sheet and incorporate all of it into this beer. And he's like, as long as the beer tastes great, I don't care what you do.
Right. He's just letting you go. Right. Yeah. And now your book,
so he pretty much let me go.
Just to let everybody know, it's called IPA Brewing Techniques for Recipes in the Evolution of the India Pale Ale, which is just the IPA styles. It won't go away. It's just getting more and more people. I think the thing is, like, people are coming off these watery beers, and they're discovering these IPAs, like, more and more. So the style just stays around.
Yeah, and it's become a real buzzword now, so that when people come in, they just say, I want to try your IPA, and they don't really know what that means.
Right.
I mean, most beer drinkers do, but there are a lot of beer drinkers that I see that just, oh man, I should be drinking this craft beer, this IPA, and
right.
And I think what's helped with that is the development of the New England IPA, which isn't as bitter as what I was brewing at Stone, So you've got a beer that's, it's very fruit forward, and it's softer on the palate, and it's not quite as abrasive. And so it's not quite the acquired taste that a West Coast IPA was, where people might not like them the first few times they tried them, and then kind of grew to like them. I think with the hazy IPAs, the New England IPAs, I think it's a little bit more accessible, which is a good thing for brewers.
Yeah. So, right, and it's become, these big milkshakes. They call them milkshakes now. They're very cloudy, and the New England IPAs. But your beers were at Stone. They were bitter, but they had this explosive hop, character to them as well. I mean, you must have loaded them up, I guess, with hops, and like, what was the ratio? I guess it's like,
on a pounds per barrel basis on some of the beers.
Yeah.
Most of the beers at Stone, I think we're in between 2 and 3 pounds per barrel, kind of on average. Mm-hmm. The dry hopping was, when I got to Stone, it was, 3/4 of a pound to 1.5 pounds per barrel, and some of the beers 2 pounds per barrel. And we didn't start venturing into what a lot of people are doing now with the 5 and 6 pounds per barrel until we got to things like Enjoy By. Enjoy By has a lot of hops in it, and and this is something that as these IPAs developed over time, this is something I saw a lot of people doing, and I remember talking to Julian Schrego at Beechwood Brewing and Barbecue in Long Beach, and I think he's an amazing brewer and brews some of the best IPAs I've ever had. And he told me flat out, he said he won't even consider dry hopping anything at less than 2 pounds per barrel, which, back when I first started dry hopping beers, a 1/4 pound per barrel, 1/2 pound per barrel was the going rate. And now it's huge.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, a lot of the late additions in the boil.
Yeah.
We do that here. I mean, I used to do it in the beginning. They were kind of bitter, but now everybody wants, like 5 minutes left or 10 minutes left. Just throw everything in. Also dry hopping. Yeah, we do a double IPA too, and I have to dry hop it next week with some. We use the Falconer's Flight. Seven Seas. It's awesome stuff. For the double IPA we make.
Nice.
And also the Australian hops are awesome as well. That are coming out, really fantastic. But so that was interesting, and I saw that you grew the brewery from like 49,000 barrels to like 325,000 barrels, like in 2015.
Yeah, something like that. We increased about tenfold while I was in the 10 years I was there, and
wow.
It was Stone. It was always a construction zone. We were always working on expansion projects. Some were bigger than others. Some it was just bringing in more fermenters, but some it was, building when I got there, we had a 50,000 square foot space for brewing and packaging and warehousing. And by the time I left, we had moved all the warehousing to its own space, which was, I think, 100,000 square feet. And then we had built another 50,000 square foot building where we put all the packaging and bright tank operations. So we had two 50,000 square foot buildings that were dedicated 100% to brewing and packaging. It was crazy times for sure. I mean, we were just growing like bonkers.
Yeah, the beer was very good, and it's all over the place.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's excellent, really excellent. Yeah, and I guess I'm mostly focused on IPA. Did you do anything else other than IPAs there? I think you had maybe some darker beer. Well, you did the Arrogant Bastard. Was that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we did a lot of different beers. The one thing that Greg really wasn't interested in was doing classic styles unless they were really boldly flavored. So, some of the lower alcohol sessionable type beers, he didn't have a lot of interest in doing that. But we did focus on IPAs, but we also did a number of Belgian beers. We did a series called Vertical Epic where we came out with a new Belgian recipe every year. We did a number of imperial stouts. We did a series of beers that we brewed with home brewers that, we picked their recipe during a contest, and it was part of the Brewers Association, the homebrewers part of the Brewers Association. We were doing membership rallies for them, and we had a contest every year that the winning homebrew we picked and would brew that beer on our system. And so there was a lot of different things that we did there. But, I think the one thing that characterized all of our beers at Stone, and probably still does at Stone because they're still kind of carrying on with this for sure, but, just really boldly flavored, aggressively flavored beers. And it doesn't mean harsh or undrinkable, but just beers that are packed with flavor. And that was something that was always part of what Stone tried to do. Right.
And they succeeded, big time. I always when you get a Stone beer, and whenever it's on tap, I just order a Stone beer. We don't have your. I used to do it, but New Realm is not really. You're not really widely distributed, right?
No, we're not. When we started this company out, we didn't have any aspirations to try and become even a national brewer or even a large regional brewer. We wanted to stick our beers, have them stick pretty close to home, and really be kind of focus on our local audience. And so right now, we have two breweries. We have the original brewery in Atlanta, and we distribute beer throughout the state of Georgia. But I'd say a huge percentage of the beer that we send to distribution makes its way to Atlanta Metro and is in the Atlanta Metro region. We send bits and pieces down to southern Georgia, to Savannah and some other spots, Athens and things like that. But I think almost all of our beer stays pretty close to the Atlanta Metro area.
Right. And New Realm was interesting. Like you left, I guess, a group of individuals approached you, I guess, at Stone and said, "Hey, we want to start a brewery." And are you still living in California still, or where?
Yeah, for a few more months. my daughter is a senior in high school in California, and part of the deal when I took this job was that I wasn't going to move until after she graduated high school. So, so I've been commuting from California to Atlanta or Virginia Beach just about every week this year.
Wow.
It didn't start off. It started off kind of like an every other week thing, which was pretty easy compared to what it is now. But I've got till June, and then we'll pick up and move east.
Well, you started, I guess, the New Realm started a couple years ago, or last year, or was it 2 years?
So we opened in January of 2018.
Oh, okay.
We started brewing in November of 2017.
Right.
The company was founded several years ago. I joined in 2016. In July, and that's when we found our location for our Atlanta brewery was that month, and it took us a year and a half to get that up and running.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Oh, it's across the country. Wow, you had to go all the way across. But I mean, the Virginia Beach location is interesting. I think was that the one that Green Flash was going to open, and then you guys went into it, or?
It is.
Wow. Yeah, it's unfortunate what happened with Green Flash, but apparently they're coming out again. I think they're resurrecting it, and really excellent.
Yeah,
beer.
Green Flash never went away. They just they put that location up for auction.
Yeah,
and then they pulled back their operations to focus on the West Coast, where they've got a big brewery out there, and they never really stopped operating. They just had a change of ownership and
just
such.
Kind of
kind of retrenched and rebooted, but. Yeah, I mean, we were able to get that brew. It's a beautiful brew house. It's a 50,000 square foot brewing area.
Wow. I see the pictures online. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, and to be able to get, we were just starting to talk about building a production facility because the Atlanta brewery, we have limited space here to grow. We were starting to think that, hey, if we keep growing the way we are, we're going to have to build a production brewery. And we didn't want to, we knew that was going to be a year and a half to 2 years to get that going. So we were starting to talk about it pretty early. And then this thing came up, and we found out about it. And our owners said, yeah, we're going to be this is a good investment. This is going to take care of us for a long time, and let's do it.
It looks really nice. Yeah. And then I see that. What is your brew house in Atlanta? What size is that?
So the Atlanta brew house is a Steinecker 25 hectoliter microcube, or combi cube or whatever they call it. But it's a 25 hectoliter, basically 20 barrels. And,
20 barrel system. Okay.
Yeah. 20 barrel system. And, we've got 16 40-barrel fermenters and 4 60-barrel fermenters here. So we can probably, if we were humming along, we could probably do 10 to 15,000 barrels a year here.
Wow.
And then the Virginia Beach facility, that's a 50-barrel Mueller brew house. And that.
Oh, so it's a German.
No, it's American. Mueller's out of Missouri.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And we can do 40,000 barrels there right now, but there's room for a lot more fermenters, and we could probably get up close to 100,000 barrels over time if we needed to. So
I see the fermenters, the pictures, like a massive fermenters.
Yeah, they're 250 barrel fermenters, which we hardly ever use. We're not brewing enough of any beer to really use those, but we've got some 100 barrel fermenters and some 50 barrel fermenters in there as well. So
you can do some big time, I guess, distribution. Do you use any distributors now, or how does that work? Or do you self-distribute?
Yeah, we have. We can't self-distribute in Georgia, and I'm not sure what the law is in Virginia, but we're distributing now in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia, which is Norfolk and Virginia Beach and some of the towns around there, and then also the Williamsburg area. So just in that one corner of Virginia. And we'll see how that goes for a while before we look at expanding into the rest of the state. But it's just let's take it slow. Let's build the business and make sure that there's the infrastructure's there to support growth.
Absolutely, a lot of brew, and I keep talking about that. Well, we do Brew News on Friday. I do like 3 podcasts a week, different things. Brewers on Monday, then we do beer styles. Like I take the GAB BF list and I go through a different style on Wednesday.
Oh,
and
cool.
Fridays I do news, and it's just like a soap opera. It's a drama. All these guys just go nuts. They take all this cash and they'll just buy a 30-barrel system and start brewing beer. and they don't know if they're going to sell it or not. And then they end up having beer, and then they get arguments with distributors, and then they can't make their payments, and then the bank comes in and takes them over. That's pretty much what happens. That's the story I see over and over again. So I think slow and methodical, make sure you have the footprint and, build the beers that sell, which your beers are great anyway. They're probably, I just looking at descriptions of them. The hazy like a fox is interesting, and then you have other IPAs that are really interesting as well. So,
we're trying to do a big cross-section of beers, and one of the things that we've learned is that the beers that do well in our restaurants aren't necessarily the ones that are going to get a lot of interest out in distribution. So, we've kind of had to separate our focuses a little bit. For example, our best-selling beer, or one of our best-selling beers in our restaurant, is a 5% Belgian, like a single. And,
no kidding.
It was one of the first beers that we brewed, and it just has been the most popular beer in Atlanta and in our restaurant in Atlanta since we released it. In Virginia Beach, the most popular beer there is a Munich Dunkel. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. We see it every month. It's selling. It's in the top 3. And,
you never know until you make these things and then see what sells. It's unbelievable.
It's kind of cool, and certainly a Munich Dunkel is not a beer you can go out and put in package and distribute and expect to have huge sales of. But the fact that people like it when they come into our place is really nice. It's really cool. But we're doing several different types of IPAs, and I'm, despite the fact that we're doing a lot of other things, I still love brewing IPAs, and, we're brewing, we've got Hoplandia, which is kind of a West Coast influenced IPA, and we've got Hoptropolis, which is a little bit more tropical and a little bit less bitter, and, kind of more in lines with what people in this area prefer. And and then we've got the New England type IPA, that we started brewing spring of last year, and have been having some fun with that and learning about how to brew those styles and how to keep the haze in the beer, which is to me a huge challenge. I always get a kick out of all these brewers that say New England IPAs are, lazy brewing. And I'm like, no, it's not even close.
It's hard to keep the head. What do you do? Tell me. Can you release that secret?
We haven't really succeeded yet.
We can talk offline.
We're doing,
I've been trying.
we're doing we're doing flaked oats and malted oats and trying.
I do the same thing too. Yeah, the flake, the oatmeal. I'm like doing everything. Flaked. Everything.
We haven't tried flour or anything yet.
Oh my God!
I'm kind of not wanting to do that.
Todd Mott told me lactose. People using lactose in it.
Yeah, we use lactose in ours as well. Milk sugar, just to keep the keep it kind of full bodied and keep the terminal gravity up a bit. But yeah, it's it's just one of those things where it's. On the surface, people think it's just kind of taking shortcuts. And as I've learned about this style, it's like, no, there's a lot of technique involved here. And the people that do it well are very good at it. And there are a lot of people that don't do it well. And, I found it from a brewing perspective. And for me, being kind of a technical oriented brewer, I find them fascinating as a style. It's just really interesting to see how everything happens in those beers and how different they are from what I was brewing at Stone.
Right. I talked to Greg Kimmick up in Alchemist. I did a podcast with him, and he said, my beer, it turned out hazy, but I didn't really mean it to be that way.
Yeah.
But people look at his beer and they say, oh yeah, that's a hazy IPA, a New England IPA. He's like, nah, it's just my beer. I like the hops, and I make the beer the way I want, and it just comes out hazy. Yeah.
And his beer's great, It's been one of my favorites for a long time.
Oh, the Heady Topper, and the hops he got this year, he says are out of control. Actually, I just had some recently. Somebody brought me some, and it's really good, like the version that he had. Because it's like wine, I guess, with grapes, right? 1 year you can have a great harvest. The next year it could be like, but it's the same thing with hops as well.
Yeah, well, it really helps to go out and do selection in September at the hop suppliers. And, if you're a big enough brewery and you can do that and you get the invite to go do it, that way you get your pick, you get to select from, several different lots, and you can pick which one you think is going to work best in your beers.
Oh my God.
It's so worthwhile.
But you do that, I guess you fly out. Well, you're out in California anyway. Do you go up to like Oregon or something, or? And
Yeah, I haven't actually done it in a couple of years, so
okay.
I'm looking to get back into it next year. So
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
Excellent. But your beer is excellent. I have to try your New Realm. Where did the New Realm come from? The word.
Oh, that's funny. When I joined Bob and Carrie, they already had gone through piles of names, ideas, and we decided pretty early on that we weren't going to try and use a name that somebody else had used either for a beer or for a brewery. So we just said, if the name's been used, it's off the list. And so we had so many brainstorming sessions on the names, and we came up with so many names and rejected so many names. And New Realm was one that was just kind of hanging out there that somebody had suggested. And the funny thing is nobody remembers who actually first suggested the name. But, we didn't find it. There was no problem with the name, but we didn't initially gravitate towards it. So it just kind of was on the perimeter of all the names and kind of out there. And as we kept going through this and kept getting very frustrated with the fact that we couldn't agree on a name or find a name that hadn't already been used, that name came up again and again. And eventually we started talking about it a little more in depth and realized that, for us personally, all of us came from long careers with other breweries. This was kind of a new realm for us. And we thought that might be kind of a cool thing to name our brewery. And so that's what we did.
No, it is a pretty cool name. I like your logo too. It's interesting.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. That is a Czech, medieval god, or a Slavic, medieval god of hospitality.
Oh man, and you got like a hop on his head there too. I see.
Yeah, we did. We made some took some artistic liberties.
Also hops on the side too. Yeah,
little hops on the side, hops on the head, and barley stalks for a beard.
Oh, look at that! Yeah, that's cool. But that's cool. All right, well, Mitch, I know you're a busy man. I don't want to keep you anything longer. Anything you want to tell, while you're leaving, about local craft beer? Why people should kind of support their local breweries and.
Yeah, I think first of all, you're never going to get fresher beer than you get at your local brewery, and fresh beer is the best. When you support local breweries, you're supporting families, you're supporting people that don't make a heck of a lot of money, so your support goes a really long way. And these are people that are, by and large, are doing it for the love of what they're doing,
right? And
they are passionate about it. And I always like to support people that have gotten into the business for those reasons, and I think it's really cool. It's really interesting to see how much local has taken off, and how many breweries there are. And I saw a quote that everybody in this country lives within 10 miles of a brewery or something like that, recently, which is amazing, and certainly I see it here in Atlanta, and I saw it at home in California when I was living there, and all the towns were getting a number of breweries, and it just it's become quite the social thing to go pop into a few breweries on an evening or a weekend afternoon or something. And it's really kind of a neat phenomenon. And, I love it. I love the fact that these people are able to, these smaller brewers are able to make a living for themselves by just selling beer out of their tap room. And I think it's just amazing.
It is cool. In Germany, every town has a brewery, so it's kind of turning to it. And before pre-prohibition, there were many breweries in the U.S., and the population was much less. So per capita, I think we're trending back that way, So people say there is a bubble, but I don't know. It remains to be seen.
I think there will be. I think you're seeing some markets are oversaturated.
Right.
They just there just aren't enough people to support all of the breweries in some of these places. You're seeing a lot of brewery closings in Portland, Oregon, and in San Diego and some other spots. But I think there's still a lot of room in other parts of the country. So I think the bubble I would expect would be very regional or, very localized to certain areas. And, and I think the big brewers that have gone national are the ones that are struggling because now all the local brewers are there and, people don't need to buy a beer that's made 2,000 miles away when they can get 10 fresher versions of the same
Right.
type of beer in their hometown,
That's exactly the trend. It's a hyper-local trend. Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, like Green Flash is unfortunate what happened to them, but people are like, look, I can get the IPA here. I have a brewery down the street. So, but they make excellent beer. So,
yeah.
All
so
right.
It's a tough road for those bigger brewers that are national, but some of them are still doing very well, and I think they will. But the ones that there are going to be ones that I think are going to suffer a bit. But that's the nature of the business. I think it's very cyclical, and things go back and forth. And, yeah,
I know the cans thing is killing me. I keep telling people, putting it in. I can't really make any money putting these beer in cans. I don't know if do you guys do canning too down there?
We do.
You do.
We bought a bottling line, and then we decided not to use it and just focus on cans.
Yes. But you sell
nobody in Atlanta is putting beer in bottles anymore.
No, these craft beer stores are all cans. It's like, but I mean, I tried to build this business on 22-ounce bottles, and then they fell off the face of the earth.
Boy, they sure did.
Oh, man. Sure did. I still sell them here, and I'm trying to force craft beer stores to take them again, because we have beer that's good. People want to buy it. It's just the packaging, but, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a tough one, yes. So listen, I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me. It's been great. I appreciate what you do, and I need to come down to Atlanta. Actually, I have a friend in Atlanta. I'm like, go see Mitch. He's at New Realm. Just go there. Yeah. You'll have a great time. You'll have a great beers. So I know they'll be great. So I have to get down there and try some. But are you going to Craft Brewers Conference? No.
Yeah, I will be.
Oh,
there.
You are. So maybe I'll bump into you there. I got a media pass. Hey,
okay.
A media. I have a podcast, right? They gave me a media pass.
Nice.
So that's awesome. Okay.
That is cool.
Hey, so
Fantastic.
Listen, I appreciate you being on, and I want to let you go, but take care. Talk soon.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
A lot.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, that was Mitch Steele. He was the former brewmaster at Stone Brewing. They did some fantastic stuff, and now he's at New Realm Brewing in Atlanta. And I'm looking on the website. I'm just the hops that he's using and the IPAs that he's doing, and even other. He says that there's a Belgian session that's like the number one seller in his Atlanta facility, and then they have a Munich Dunkel, which is not really a common beer, but that's the best seller in Virginia. Who would have known? You just got to make stuff and see what people like. You never know. But and I appreciate Mitch being on. If you like our podcast, if you like what I'm doing, I'm trying to give you the best guys, best brewmasters that are out there. And we got 3. Oh man, the last 3 episodes are fantastic, man. Whoa. Cool. But, I appreciate it if you could help me out. Go onto iTunes and give us a rating, give us a review. Tell a friend, tell 10 friends. We're 10X here. And, rating, review, subscribe. That just helps us get up the rankings. And we got to do this for iTunes. They have these algorithms, and they just notice when people are giving good reviews out, and they move you up in the rankings. And that helps us tremendously attract more great guests, right? So please help me out with that. If you got any questions or you have any comments, I'm at michael@craftbeerstorm.com. And, if you have any brewers you want me to interview, I will. You got any movers and shakers in the beer world that you have connections with, send them my way. Let's do it. And just keep the party going, man. That's it. We just got to keep it going. But got Craft Brewers Conference coming up in Denver as well. If you're out there or you're going to be out there, let me know. Send me an email. Let's connect. Enjoy some beer, some really great beer. It's going to be great. Okay, guys, that's all I have for today. We'll see you Wednesday for Beer Styles episode. All right, take care.